we just watched Godzilla Resurgence. What do you guys think?
Godzilla.
Huh?
Shin Godzilla.
It's also called Godzilla Resurgence.
It's a lovely movie. Heartwarming.
Okay.
I liked it.
One word review. Everybody do a one word review.
Heartwarming.
Heartwarming.
Anime. Felt very anime.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Intense. I would say it was pretty intense, honestly.
Eyeballs.
You know what he looked like? You know,
Radioactive. What's my word?
dude. This is what he looked like.
You really did, bro.
That's a compliment.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
First off, you need to add some googly eyes.
This is what he looked like.
Now, that is a very accurate picture.
That is pretty much 100%.
It's actually, yeah, because Godzilla shows up in like this weird like larval fish form, and okay, regardless of how we feel about
Did
the
you see
movie,
his stumps? Poor little guy.
Yeah.
let's be entirely honest, that wasn't the best money shot they started him off with.
Yeah.
When I saw the gills, I thought of fish, and then I wanted to go fishing, and then I was hungry, and I really wanted fish.
I
So
saw
that's
that.
why you walked out.
The gills were like just kind of ruined my appetite. I had like an entire bucket of popcorn that I didn't even like really get started on because of that whole like.
Yeah, especially when the blood's flying everywhere and shit.
I would say the best part of the appearance of Godzilla, the first appearance, is those nubs. I'm still sticking to the nubs. The nubs and the eyes. The nubs and the eyes.
No love for the T-Rex arms.
No, not the T-Rex arms, but
No,
those little
no,
nubs.
no,
It goes
Right
like
before you
this.
had
It's
to
all
like
like
you
that.
had those nubs.
But okay, I'm sorry, but we never should have been able to say the phrase Godzilla with nubs.
Yeah, dude,
I feel like
you're sneaking on the ground like Solid Snake.
Oh, he really was. He was fucking slithering.
he's just a misunderstood dinosaur trying to get someone to scratch his itch. Like, look at it, the whole movie. You can see him trying to body slam shit, and
This
he's
was-
just trying to get something, you know? Like,
This was a very polite movie. It gave all its characters nap time.
Oh, it really did.
So why were there? Are there really that many boats in Japan?
This,
I would assume so.
oh yeah,
It's
because
not,
it's a lot of fishing. And this, what was the deal with all the ending with the bodies on the tail?
Oh,
Did
the
they
tail
look-
babies.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell babies.
Oh well, they look like people. Like
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they look like humans. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they look kind of like aliens, like straight out of the Alien movies.
I thought like because like it was all them like like contorted and like had their like arms out. I thought like the tip of the tail was gonna be like all their arms out holding like a little baby Godzilla.
Like a Lion King, except really fucked up.
It looked like
Very
people
dark
like
version.
fused to his tail.
I haven't-
though.
And this is made by the guy who made Evangelion. I've never seen Evangelion, but this I think I have a pretty good idea from like that whole like that entire sequence when he uses his atomic breath. I'm pretty sure like that was like that looked like something from like an anime opening.
Okay, so I've seen
No,
all. What?
I know why he had tail babies.
Why did he have tail?
Because he is Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because he's higher than humans, as they were pointing out in the movie. Because he's part human.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe he's like some sort of weird genetic experiment or some shit. Or maybe some weird shit happened and a bunch of people that got consumed by like toxic waste became like one with his body.
They said that he was gonna grow wings.
They said he could
Yeah,
grow
they should.
wings, as in he could like adapt himself to whatever is happening. for him.
Well, that just kind of sounds like they threw away a pretty good idea.
What was that weird stuff that fell in that one scene? It just like
bomb?
was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was saying. Like,
it was like pudding. It just
oh, yeah, that red
and
stuff.
then they started talking about it. Like,
Wait,
it
what
was
stuff?
how he was gonna.
sprout
babies or
wings.
something.
This is like the weirdest Godzilla I've ever seen.
Yeah,
How is it
weird.
so big in
That was very
Japan? That's what I'm
disturbing.
confused about.
Well, because Evangelion
Well,
is
that's-
very big in Japan.
Well, that and the fact that Godzilla's like Toho hasn't made a Godzilla movie since 2004, so it's been like 12 years since then, and like Godzilla's like right up there with Superman and being
And
like
Gundam.
an international like phenomenon.
I just want to say Japan makes a better Godzilla movie.
What?
than Hollywood.
I
I don't
thought,
know.
honestly, I thought our version was a lot better.
I thought the recent American one was better, just because it was more full production. This one
Everything-
seemed like
Everything about it had that cliche Hollywood-esque
But this one,
bullshit feel.
But it
to
also
it.
had everything in an actual Godzilla movie, whereas this one didn't.
yeah, they had prop children, like we were talking about. So
this movie felt a lot like an old Godzilla movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the way that they
That's
shot
what
the
I'm saying.
scenes.
There are a lot of like homages to the first movie, like that whole like all the like when they were using the trains as bombs and like because it was like an homage to that scene where Godzilla accidentally steps in front of a train in the first movie, and he gets all like throws like a little temper tantrum and picks it up with his teeth and then throws it on the ground, and like it opened the exact same way and it ended the exact same way, and it had like the exact same 1950s theme song.
Yeah, I like the
The
theme
music was great.
that was so weird. They took music from the old movies and then music literally straight out of Evangelion in several scenes.
Mm.
Just put it together.
And they just threw it together and they served it to us.
Piping hot.
All right, so that elongated jaw weirded me the fuck out with the atomic breath.
Oh,
yeah,
the
that's
split
true.
jaw.
Oh yeah, that was
Bottom.
It's
weird.
kind of snake-like.
Yeah.
It wasn't really too into that. I was fine with like the spike beams. I was fine with like his atomic breath basically being like an explosion that he makes in his mouth and he condenses into like a balloon.
That was really cool.
I like
That
their
was
excuse
dope.
for
Yeah.
him shooting down a bomber, just like, oh yeah, he's got built-in radar.
I have to say this was pretty hilariously pandering to the U.S. The Americans, they did it. You go U.S. or whatever they said.
I feel like that was the whole point because in the end,
Yeah.
it wasn't even the U.S. who accomplished the end
It
goal.
was the
They were
French.
like, well, nukes, or we, I guess,
The Americans.
were like nukes, and yeah.
We prefer nukes.
And there's that fucking old guy who's more concerned about his wet noodles than he was about the
Oh
gigantic
yeah.
nuke lizard wandering around the city.
Well, come on,
30
man.
miles from down and he's worried about his noodles.
Hey,
getting
Nuke
soggy.
Lizard. That sounds like some sort of like knockoff toy, like Ultraman toys. It's just a knockoff Superman.
If you look hard enough, we could probably find
Dude, the
one.
whole beginning of the movie was them dropping from room to room. What the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Let's go have a meeting in this room. No. There's bigger TVs in this room. Let's go to that room.
It's like
It was like people who were allowed to be in the room versus people who needed to be in the room, and they had to keep switching it up depending on what they were talking
Yeah,
about.
Andrew,
Who they
you
were
were-
talking about it. With. It was kind of like a. I'm sorry, what?
you were talking about how like you didn't like Suicide Squad because of how it kept jumping around everywhere in the beginning. When this movie literally did the exact same thing.
It did, but that's I'm like kind of looking over that part because I was like a lot of reading and wasn't even really looking at the scenes because they were talking a lot.
That's kind of a problem. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
for that wasn't. This is like the most verbal Godzilla movie ever.
Well,
We're spending like
It really was.
we spent like 2 hours in a room meeting every now and then. Godzilla would show up in like a business suit to tear the city
And they
apart.
just flashing between different scenes, and you had no idea who was talking, what was going on, because you have to read the subtitles at the bottom.
like
See,
there-
I just said fuck it with the location subtitles and just read the dialogue.
I just kind of
Yeah.
gave up on the subtitles and just went with the context of what the movie was showing me.
Yeah. I read the subtitles, but
Yeah, I read it.
I was still
I mean-
Cuba.
I can read pretty fast, but
It's not a fucking competition.
a lot of it was useless, though.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
well,
Not need to know
Read the beginning, read the end, and then glance at the middle. That's how I do.
Yeah,
It was a very Japanese movie in that sense.
And the characters weren't
Well,
developed at all. Like, they just
I
shot random people in there.
Okay, so what it felt like to me was like Evangelion the show, except just really, really fucking condensed. And I feel like that was one problem they had, is they were trying to get way too much information into the time they had.
Yeah.
Because like in Evangelion, they have that same kind of manner of speech, you know?
It's fine. It's fine.
The whole first offensive
They
was
take more
so
time.
so reminiscent of Evangelion when they have all the artillery and tanks just like blasting away.
And that was fucking badass.
That was
though. To see
badass.
live action, that was amazing. The sounds, dude.
But it looked straight out of Evangelion.
Yeah, this
for
definitely.
sure.
But again, we kind of had like the disadvantage of seeing it with like an audience this wasn't really for. Like this was definitely the kind of audience that thought they were gonna see like I don't know, the audience that thought they were like going into the sequel for the 2014 Godzilla, and then a bunch of like anime type stuff like that.
Except for that one lady up front who clearly understood Japanese because she was like laughing.
She was
like,
laughing at everything.
every joke.
Yeah,
and they were not that funny.
Yeah,
she was
every little
doing- she was
slight
being very
mannerism that would be
obnoxious
hilarious to a
Wait, was that the
Japanese
girl
person.
that was sitting behind us?
Maybe.
Well, it
Yeah,
definitely wasn't as
that
bad
was
as
a white chick. That
She was
a-
loud. She kept like.
it wasn't nearly as bad as like the 3-year-old
But she kept
like
making
very
comments.
opinionated
No,
girl
she
who's
was
sitting
really
like,
loud.
why aren't they
It's
talking?
specifically
Oh yeah,
Japanese.
that.
Oh my god, she like every fucking scene, like her parents did not know how to shut her the fuck up.
See, kids like that need to be spanked.
Okay, so I think we're getting a little bit off track here.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
gonna go back to
too far.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay,
The movie's
one part that I liked about it was like how it portrayed how much the Japanese hate nukes.
Yeah, yeah.
That was cool.
They did really good on that.
That was, you could feel the emotion behind it.
And I did like how they emphasized like the historical nature of a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of it, like the first shots fired by the Japanese military since World War II. Like that was like, whoa, okay.
You could also feel the disappointment in the audience when they decided not to use the helicopters the first time around to fire at Godzilla. Wait, hold your fire. There's a homeless person in the way. Get out of there!
See,
and then it just smashes
that.
through like 5 more buildings and probably kills hundreds of people. But
And
Yeah, they were evacuated.
You could also see the cultural differences too, because during like this evacuation you could see cops like helping homeless people. We're like over here like, get the fuck out of the way, old man.
He got somewhere to be.
Come on.
See, that's why I thought it was cool.
Back to
They're like-
cultural differences.
yeah.
Wet noodles.
Oh,
Wet
yeah.
noodles.
Speaking of wet noodles, guys, legit, I have a feeling like everyone like had like, because of like the beginning, like when we first see Godzilla, it's like his tail, a very phallic shaped tail, just like wagging around the wall, and you could tell everyone in the theater was thinking of like the dick joke of some kind.
Like,
Yeah.
are we about to watch some live action tentacle porn or some shit?
This is a Japanese movie.
Although I have to say the long tail made for some really cool, like wide angle shots.
I agree, but I think it was like airborne like the entire time, and it didn't really need to be like that.
The one thing that bothered me was how the most mobile thing on Godzilla was his tail. Like everything
Yeah.
else was kind of like stuff.
It was very.
His tail was all.
I don't think I saw his legs move. It just kind of looked like a motorized, like something like a statue, like someone was pushing
No,
from
you
the
see his
other.
legs move. It's just that they're short, stumpy, and there's buildings in the way.
He also had like a very pear shape. Like his legs were really fat, and he had like a really. Godzilla's got some curves on him in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he
Thick
looked
one.
pretty cool, like from the a front angle, like especially like amongst all the fire when he's still glowing and shit. You can see the ring of like atomic energy around his neck. I thought that looked bitchin', man.
His fucking flame breath when he first started it up, and it was just all fire, and you see the city, and then you see the buildings are literally just
Like,
reduced to the steel beams. Apparently, Godzilla's fire can't melt steel beams.
And then you completely shattered buildings that are probably
Yeah.
supported by steel beams.
Well, that was when it went to like laser mode, though.
Right.
Okay, that was badass.
That was so fucking cool.
the laser when he just like chopped buildings like fucking cheese. That shit was awesome.
Yeah, and then like when he used, like I kind of liked what he did with the spines too, and like just kind of created like. I don't know, like a nice little disco laser show.
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
Like,
Dude,
yeah,
that was being
voice
honest,
and
like,
shit.
and like it'd be like an EDM concert. Let's go.
Well, back to that.
You can have Godzilla stomping for the bass.
There you go.
and, like,
An
little,
occasional roar.
little DJ caps put on the side there.
Oh,
Dude, that'd be
speaking of
dope.
the
And
roar.
fucking at that roar near the EDM track.
Speaking of the roar, I liked this roar very
It
much.
was very fucking cool.
Of
This
course
is
it
a
is. It's
badass
literally
roar.
the same roar they've been using like since 1954.
It was
But it
slightly
was
different.
Japanese.
It was slightly
He
different.
roared in Japanese, exactly.
It was slightly different.
Would have been horrible.
Well, it did have kind of
Exactly.
an ego spin onto it.
I kind of liked our version
See,
better.
if you
his
put back-
mouth was
It sounds like an actual
Evangelion
like a
shit.
monster roar that you could hear from miles away. I'm
Mm.
talking about the 2014 one.
Yeah.
I did like, I did like him in that one better.
Like when we saw the 2014 one in IMAX, it like rattled your chest.
Yeah, I liked how it showed his nose when he breathes in and it makes that deep sound that's really like
yeah, like you
iconic.
see like the inside of his mouth, like sort of like the gums, sort of like flapping,
Mhm.
like really fast.
Like, yeah, that they did perfect on that movie.
What about when Matthew Broderick stuck a live wire in Godzilla's gums?
No, that was that was the 1998 one.
That's a lot of fish.
That's that is in fact a lot of fish. Yes.
Godzilla was a lot of fish in this one.
Wasn't there like an entire like weren't like all the
Godzilla
cameos
was
and,
a
like,
fish in
main
this
characters
one.
like
Yeah.
like people who voiced in The Simpsons in that movie?
Wait, what?
Yeah, like all like the cast was like mostly like Simpsons characters. Well, not
That's
like
insane.
the actual Simpsons characters, but the voice actors.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Anyway, back to the movie we just saw.
Getting off track here.
Yeah. So was that like when that red stuff flooding the like?
I assumed that was blood because they said he was
He was
blood cool.
I
He was
thought-
like,
And then I thought it was like oil or something, like something else, because I don't know. They didn't really like stay on that too long. Cause
I just assumed it was blood because like they were saying that how he was a blood cooled, like his nuclear reactor was blood cooled or whatever, and he was like venting, like he came onto land to like
did they ever specify
metamorphosize and shit.
his origin? Like I know that like because of like
They got into some detail, but then.
I feel like he was just a poor little lizard that got stuck in nuclear waste or some shit.
Well, I think his eye is actually, that really weird eye is actually a clue to that. Because it did look like a...
A fish.
It's a fucking, what are they called? The dragon
Snake,
fish or whatever?
yeah, he said like it was like he had lungs like a lungfish.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Or hands like a lungfish.
But one thing about his look
Legs.
is he does look very deep sea. Like
Yeah.
he looks like something that came straight out of like, like those mile deep
Yeah, like
underwater
they did
crevices.
say he was like a really ancient marine life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of all the other shit we'd be dumping in there. But
That's why I think it was one of those dragonfish things.
Right.
I don't know if they're called dragonfish, but they
They
look
better
like a
be.
dragonfish.
Still can?
No, it's like a really long one, and it has those same exact round
Yeah.
eyes.
Weird.
I think this version was even bigger than the 2014 one because
They
this
look
one's
like a
like
floating
this
log.
one's like 108 meters and like ours was like 105 meters.
Right?
You could really tell that 3 meter distance.
And we're shut up, Alex.
But how long? He was definitely longer than the 2014
Oh.
Godzilla.
What?
The end scene where they're standing on that like platform thing, and in the background you can see how big Godzilla is. That was a pretty cool scene.
I was too distracted by her dream to become the president.
Yeah.
How the woman from Japan wants to. Oh yeah. Wants
I
to be
just
the
want to say
president of
she
the
was
United
not
States.
supposed to be from Japan. She was supposed to be American, and her American accent sucked donkey cock.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she was like born American, moved to
You know what,
Japan or
it's-
something.
It's
But she
still
always referred to it as my mother's country. If she had lived in Japan, she would have been a little bit
Yeah. I
her
don't know.
accent was still light years better than Scarlet Witch's.
true.
What are you doing here?
Is that why you've come? To end the Avengers?
I like that one crazy dude. That one crazy
Oh, yeah,
Japanese dude with the beard.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about the dude who like straight up went all Kramer there for like a couple minutes. Oh, the computer. He said, "Ah!"
Then if you start fucking what the dude. Are you talking about the dude who's raging and he's like, "Here, dude, you should have had a V8. Have a water." Like, what the fuck?
No, I was talking. No, I'm talking.
That was your Gucci.
No, the funny thing is like
There were like 3 or 4 recycled scenes
yeah, well,
of like basically someone says something and then someone has to reiterate like "fuck you," no, like "you're wrong, she was right." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
why did
Yeah, good.
I'm sorry. Why didn't Godzilla's they basically they froze Godzilla at the end, so I mean I get that we need to like nature and stuff like that and his existence is our fault, but I mean fucking nuke him anyway. I mean like, not nuke him, but like shoot some
I
missiles
thought
at him like
nuking him would have just made him stronger.
well I mean if they fired
Yeah.
like missiles at him while he's made of ice, I would make him
Why do they even consider the nuke at all? Just send more stealth bombers because it did a lot of damage,
Yeah, but he
Nigga
would've shot
started
them
leaking
down.
blood.
Yeah, but
Just shoot him with the same missiles that the stealth bomber.
nuke a whole fucking city or shoot them with more missiles and lose a few bombers,
You know,
Or they could have just used the fucking drones from the beginning. It's like the whole Lord of the Rings conundrum. Why didn't they just fly to Mordor on the eagles? Why didn't they just bomb the fuck out of him with the drones?
Well, in the books, aren't like because the eagles like don't they do it as just basically like a favor to Gandalf?
U.S. was doing a favor with their drones. It would have been the same shit. Why not?
It was doing a favor in general, just helping them out.
You
I
know,
don't think so.
I think
Do drones do what?
Drop those bombs.
I'm sure you can make a drone do
The
anything you
bunker
wanted it to do.
busters. Maybe.
I think it is kind of cute how they assume that the Americans would just like stand by and be support. Whereas
Yeah.
like, in real life we would like be all up in that. No.
Yeah.
We're gonna take care of this now. You guys,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just step aside.
And it's kind of like, I don't feel like the UN would agree on this so easily. I feel like you would have some countries that are like, no, I don't want you to use it.
Yeah, they had everybody just like, yeah, everybody agrees. We should just.
Everyone agreed on they were just like they were fucking taking their orders at a Denny's or something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they'll take the patty meal too. Yeah, just go ahead and get it. Yeah.
I like how shit. What was I gonna say? Never mind, I
Tits.
Yes. Whatever. Move on. I need time to.
There's
remember
not
this.
enough boobies in this film.
Oh, we saw Godzilla's nose. Those are kind of like boobies.
I mean, it's true. There's too many dudes.
It was a sausage fest. Like, let's be honest. Like, dude, just look at the PM's age. There was not one female character in that entire group.
Yeah, there was. There was like 2.
There's only that one girl.
When they
that was
after they show all the AIDS though, like here are the AIDS, and then bam, magically.
Oh, there's an old
You know-
lady who
you know-
brought him like tea or some shit.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I liked?
Tea lady.
How they have actual video evidence of this monster roaring around.
The nigga said,
Yeah, oh yeah, he was like, no, that's impossible. We're not even gonna bother acknowledging that. We're not even gonna check this out. And then later on, when there's this meanwhile later on when Nuke the Lizard Man is wandering around Japan this thing exists in their world. And then, this guy comes up with the possibility that this radioactive giant lizard feeds on radiation. The guy's like, ha! Didn't know you were into jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
They're like nuclear fission. He's like, no, that's impossible. And then he found it out. He's like, I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. They recycled that style scene
It's
like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Also,
Like at the beginning when he's saying, "Don't be so cocky" or something.
Yeah.
I like how when he threw that little temper tantrum and when the dude stopped him with the water. I have a feeling that was a little bit ad-libbed. He's like, "Hey, calm down." And then there's that long awkward silence.
He just took the water. He's like,
Wait, that was my water. Alright, so he also I think he kind of got frozen a little too fast. Because his body didn't look like it was
freezing up and then
he
just froze out of nowhere
and
once
he
he
started
stood
moving
up.
a whole bunch and then he was just frozen.
Yeah,
it's kind of
froze.
anticlimactic, to be honest.
Yeah, the whole freezing thing,
Yeah,
that was not the best.
What kind of creature has a body temperature over 100 degrees? Well, I mean us if we get a fever or something.
Cats.
Well,
Cats
it was
have
in Celsius.
Was it Celsius?
Yeah, 100 degrees is boiling.
I mean, but the whole plot boiled down to let's give Godzilla a brain freeze.
Yeah, pretty much.
190 degrees. Yeah.
Get that motherfucker on McFlurry.
That's basically what they were doing. This guy needs slushy stat.
This was definitely the first time I've ever seen a kaiju get a dentist job before.
Yeah.
They were brushing his teeth, yeah.
He had an appointment around 4. Yeah. Bring in the drones.
They even gassed him. The only thing that was missing is that they didn't molest him while he was asleep.
Dude, imagine when he's all frozen, all these kids are gonna come and tag him.
Right.
Cultural differences.
It's someone screwing a giant dildo.
There's just dicks all over.
Right on his legs and shit. Jigglypuff comes in.
But although Alex brought up a good point, do kids even do that in Japan? Cultural differences, if that happened here, he'd
I'm
get
pretty
tagged
sure
for
they
fucking.
do.
Maybe.
Yeah, kids do
Tagging's
graffiti in
everywhere.
There's
Still
Japan.
definitely a lot more
It's a
people
huge.
like that.
I'm pretty sure it's more of a bigger art there than here.
I don't think so. How many Japanese things do you see where there's graffiti on the walls?
I don't know. I've never been to Japan, so I can't answer that
Not
question.
even
honestly.
just Japan, just like images of Japan.
Like graffiti, like Japan graffiti art.
Yeah, exactly. Type that shit in Google and the fuck will you find?
Are you actually gonna type it in Google?
Yes.
All right, so this
Either way, too many train bombs. Enough with the train bombs. They
And
used
I
a lot
had
of
to
train
get it to
bombs.
slow him down. Jesus.
I'm
You
sure-
want them to do fucking piss on him?
Dude, if you could have clearance to just
That'll put a fire out.
like make every train a bomb.
I'm
So we call
surprised.
R. Kelly.
I'm
My
surprised they did
question
it.
is, what the fuck was Godzilla's third form?
Yeah, because they skipped it.
They
went
skipped
2
it.
4.
They went 2 to 4.
Yeah, they said he's already gone.
No, because he when his second form was before he went back into the ocean. And
Yeah.
then when he came back out of the ocean, he was already third form.
No, it's 4.
They said it was fourth form.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
he evolved twice. He skipped.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, skip to 4.
Shit, what was I gonna say?
So does that mean that his final form was his fifth form?
What?
Because he was bigger when he came
Well, it
back.
wasn't in his final form though. Because remember, he could still get wings and
This
shit.
ain't even my final form. I grow wings.
You're gonna love this.
Wait, but there's more.
You think this is it?
Maybe
wait for a surprise.
Wait a second. Maybe they didn't freeze him in his. Maybe that was just his ice form. Maybe that was his final form. He was just building.
He's like, these niggas think I'm dead. Just wait.
So are they like just gonna leave him in the middle of the city? Like
Yeah, I was like,
It's
yeah.
gonna be like the RX-78 Gundam over there,
Well,
just
this-
with Godzilla.
God,
There you go.
Jesus.
They said he was gonna thaw out in like what 3,000 seconds. They better fucking move fast.
Yes.
They were
No,
saying
few
that was like
That was what was left on the countdown timer thing.
for the nuke, which they said they didn't stop it. They just stopped it. They didn't like get rid of it. So like as soon as that thing starts moving again, you have 3,000 seconds.
That's even
Or they
worse.
just put the nuke in his arms or something.
It's like, as soon as he wakes up,
Huh?
what is this?
Yeah.
That'd be wicked though, right?
I'm surprised they got all those. Like, in a span of like what, less than one night, they got all those trains like filled with like explosives or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh please,
They
they
did a lot of
really
shit.
did that shit less than 24 hours.
You know what?
And the buildings.
Yeah.
But again, Evangelion, they do a whole bunch of crazy shit in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
And they damn near destroyed half of the fucking city
Well, that's
trying
what
to
the
slow
problem
him
is.
down.
Evangelion!
This was supposed to be more realistic than like Evangelion. This was supposed to be like from like what if a giant like I don't know mutated fish monster did come out of the water with his big googly eyes.
I don't know if it was really supposed to be
Much more realistic.
It was,
I mean, it reminded me a lot of the most recent Evangelion films.
yeah.
When like they're mobilizing all the task forces and agencies and shit. It was almost exactly like straight out of an Evangelion film.
Was it? Did they focus on it just as much? Because my fucking god, that was like 90% of the movie.
A little
No,
bit.
that's what I was saying is like in Evangelion they have more time and they do spend time on the characters. Like you saw almost no character development in this movie at all.
I'm pretty sure Godzilla has less screen time in this one than he did in the 2014 version.
Do you guys think that the scene with the tail babies is like a setup for a second movie
I'm
by
still
Toho
not-
Films?
I'm still not entirely. Well, there's apparently going to be an Evangelion Shin Godzilla crossover or something.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked up the
Maybe they'll
details.
like use an Evangelion to defeat
A live action.
Gojira.
Bro, I don't know. I'm not even sure the tail things were babies. I know like
They were human bodies, dude. They
Yeah,
were
it was like
people. Those were
humans,
fucking skulls and
thousands of-
I don't
arms.
know, dude.
And
but like where,
Tail
where
babies, man.
but where did he
Looked
get
like
them from? That's the
aliens.
problem.
I
That's
think
what
there
I'm
was
saying.
one alien that looked like an alien at the top right when it was going, when the camera was going.
Yeah, like I know, cause like when what I got from it was that like all the body parts and blood he was spilling, like that would eventually take up on like a life of its own or something.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like I still don't get like the tail thing, cause like he was shooting like a concentrated like beam of energy from there. That was like
But he also shot people with that beam of laser.
Yeah, but I'm just like, where
he
is
didn't
he
shoot
getting
people.
those?
There weren't like
bodies?
people flying out
He
of his
did.
tail.
No, he shot people with his laser.
So you're saying he like
It's like his kill count, like the tail people are his kill count.
Maybe.
like
Didn't he
it's
only use the tail laser whenever they were drone bombing him?
No, there's also those other airplanes from the U.S. and he also used it then.
The stealth planes.
No, the first time when he
No, the
was
stealth
last-
was the back lasers where he just like.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Another reason why I think this is pandering to American audiences is that they introduced him as Godzilla and that he's like an American monster.
Yeah.
I like how they were having that
Main
whole
character
thing
or some shit.
about Godzilla. But
Why was
versus
his tail
Gojira.
bigger than him though?
That's just kind of like, and his tail's just always kind of been like the same length as him.
You know, he looked kind of like a tadpole at first.
Oh yeah, he was a tadpole at first. That's true.
Kind of looked like a tadpole afterwards. That's the tail.
Hell yeah.
He was a blossoming butterfly.
But still, like that looked like some shit out of like a Miyazaki film. Like when they first showed him, he was like his big googly eyes, just like fucking like slithering down the street, just like.
Oh yeah, that
he
was
looked like a
weird.
hand puppet.
Bro, they pulled his eyes straight off of Mr. Potato Head. Like,
Maybe those weren't his real eyes or something.
and they knew what they were doing because halfway through the movie he got regular evil eyes, and then they go back to the freaking googly eyes.
I think it'd be hilarious if it was actually googly, like actual googly eyes.
Well, we had to make budget cuts. So.
That would have made the movie 10 times better.
Have you guys? Has any of you seen the giant claw? Because that's exactly what his first form looks like. Just like whenever you look it up on your phone right now, that's exactly pretty much what it looks like. He looks like, but like that's like I don't know. The thing with the gills just like it didn't freak me out. But it was just like
Like, he'd be hungry for fish.
It did.
Because it reminded me of, like, gutting a fish.
Yeah. See, I have a traumatizing experience with the getting a fish. So.
Back in there.
It's kind of,
BRBBQ. Need to give me my notebook.
There you go.
you should do more Godzilla drawing.
That's what I was gonna
Oh
do.
my god.
So, all right, you thought this was better than the 2014 version.
I did.
As one of the biggest Godzilla fans ever, I can confirm that you are completely wrong, sir.
I feel like you're totally, like, your opinion,
No.
man.
No, but with the 2014 when they hit all the right notes, this one just, I don't know, kind of did everything. It took Godzilla and they like made something new and creative, but they kind of went a weird turn with it, and I kind of did. That's with the 2014 one. It was everything I want to see in a Godzilla movie. Godzilla conquering other monsters and like being like has like all those like cool moments and like he actually has a pretty good money shot when they introduce him. With this one, it was just like kind of awkward and.
I gotta say that Godzilla did in fact fight a monster in this film.
The human race.
Exactly, because there is no greater monster but the human race. They strongly hint at the fact that he was probably created by some sort of weird human interaction with their fucking nuclear waste or some shit.
Well, that's the origin of nearly every Godzilla.
So, I'm just saying, you can't say he didn't fight anybody, because he totally did. He was wrecking people's shit, dude. But either way, the 2014 movie did hit a lot of the right notes, but then it hit a lot of notes that I felt like didn't need to be hit.
Like what?
Like, John brought up a really good point with the whole prop child, and I felt like the whole love story was, just like some bullshit thrown in.
You mean between the Mutos or the actual family?
No.
Like all of them.
Well, yeah, kind of. Like, first off, they should have looked in that house harder whenever he went back to it, because there was probably a wall full of cash somewhere. But also, just those two actor and actress, they had about the same emotion for each other when they were husband and wife as they did when they were brother and sister.
In Age of Ultron.
Yeah, so like it literally was not
I think that
different except that
was
they were
probably-
kissing and stuff.
That was probably.
Well, that's just a Japanese culture.
But back to the whole current movie, I really like the artistic liberties they took with Godzilla.
Yeah, I love the nubs they gave him. That was a really good artistic spin.
That was kind of weird, but how he looked at it all larval and shit with the gills and everything, like some sort of sea creature growing legs. I thought that was totally cool.
I was really cool with that. I was like, I don't know. One of the few things I thought was like I really liked was like the little laser show. And that's just because of how orchestral it got. Like, it felt if when it got all orchestral and destructive and shit, it felt like I don't know. I was watching a really good live action anime.
Evangelion. I'm just gonna say it again. A lot of the things reminded me of Evangelion. Like the whole Gil thing. Like when he spat out the blood. Like, dude, Evangelion. I was just like, oh god, is it gonna be just like blood filling the streets? And there wasn't really that much, but you know,
It was fire.
there's fire, lots of fire.
Maybe that's why there wasn't as much blood on the streets. Because the fire swooped in all
The
over.
fire was better.
Again, the scene where like everything around him's on fire and you can just see his silhouette like partially glowing from the radioactive like shit on his body. That was like straight out of Evangelion.
The first thing I
The
thought
special
when
effects were awesome though.
the first
Yeah, they were. The special effects were great.
Well,
that
In
scene.
some parts.
In some
I like the
parts.
lasers.
Let's be entirely honest, the Godzilla special effects, especially like during the beginning, it looked straight out of a video game. The special effects were not that great when
True.
like
a
when it
really
did
good cutscene.
when it didn't involve like the lasers or anything like that. In fact, like the laser show I thought was really good, but it did like legit look like it was like a 2D animation at times with some of the shots they used.
Yeah.
Especially with the buildings being on fire, it looked
Yeah.
like a video game.
Yeah, but like the thing I was going to say is when you like guys were talking about like the breath, how he was just like spilling smoke all over the street. The first thing I thought was like that episode of Futurama when like Mushu was like over the tank and he just like.
It just keeps coming and coming.
His laser breath was the coolest fucking thing I had ever seen. Like you said, how it started with him just like spewing like smoke, and then it like turned into just like this jet of fire, and then the fire concentrated into this like deadly ass like atomic breath beam. Dude, it was cool.
Like he looks like some kind of machine almost.
Yes.
You know, like the way the fire starts like spilling out of him, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of prefer it to be like an actual beam rather than like like a straight up laser. But I did like that. I do really like that. I know it kind of sounds like I'm jumping.
But see, his fire breath was almost like a beam. Like once he got the fire breath like charged up to the point where it was actually like.
It got super concentrated.
Yeah, it was almost like a beam breath of fire that like concentrates into his like nuclear fucking fission breath.
Right.
Like, dude, that's like, this movie made me respect Godzilla a whole hell of a lot more just because of that. Like, I never really like kind of like pondered the concept of a giant radioactive lizard that shoots beams of atomic energy.
You never pondered that when we were watching the 2014 version?
I mean, like, to me, it was just like this big dinosaur thing shooting blue fire breath. I was like, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cooler, but
I mean, but just this kind of like put more in my head the idea of like the atoms and the electrons and the neutrons
Like-
and the uranium.
Right, now this is an entirely different conversation altogether.
Science, man.
Were we gonna rate it?
It was
Oh
science.
yeah, let's give it a
Let's
final
start with
tally.
Jay on.
I would give it.
Who's J.O.?
I would give it like honestly. I'd give it like a 7 out of Morgan Freeman. Okay.
What does this rating tell me exactly?
And here's the reasons why.
Was there Morgan Freeman?
There are a lot of really cheesy voice acting parts, and then also.
Wait, what do you mean by voice acting?
Or in the
Oh, like actually acting.
in this movie, yeah. Well, there was just a lot of cheesy dialogue.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying.
Okay, and anyways, and then shit part.
Do you relax, man?
Fail. Hey. Hey.
Jesus, nigga, brain fart for real.
What do you think? What would you give it?
Like out of 10 or out of 5.
Oh, Morgan Freeman.
Or if you guys would recommend it. To see it in theaters or to rent it at the store or something.
Unless you're a hardcore fan, rent it. But it was totally worth seeing in theaters.
What would you rate it?
I'd give it a 6. 6 out of Morgan Freeman.
Nobody poops like Morgan Freeman.
There's the word. All right.
Alright, Ivan Drago.
I'm gonna go with 5 downed bombers out of 5. I liked it. I thought that was cool when he shot those bombers down because it was built in the radar. I thought that was
The cool
pretty
built-in radar that Godzilla's always had.
Yeah, right.
5 out of 5 bombers down.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. I thought I totally it blew my expectations. I enjoyed it. Because normally I don't like reading fucking subtitles. Like subtitles really kill something for me. I have to read the subtitles. Like I wish I just knew what the fuck they were saying. Like fuck, I've never wanted to know Japanese more in my life because I was so invested in this movie. I was like, this is really good. I like it.
Yeah. Alex?
I give it a 4 out of 7. I feel like 7's a good.
Interesting.
That's a weird cat.
Okay. You always gotta be fucking different.
That's a good solid
I
prime
give it a
number.
pie out of 4.
Alright, but now it's a good 4 out of 7 because of the googly eyes. Now, if they had only followed through with it and made it a full comedy with the broken English and everything, and then you did a real spin on it, they could have got a 7 out of 7. But they detracted from the googly eyes and the nubs, and then the broken English, and they had to make it into something serious with bombs and lasers and and then
Okay, I think
What you mean?
No, I think lasers were, that's one of the parts about it that actually kept it up there, but that, as a serious film, that's what kept it up there as a 4 out of 7. If it was a comedic film, that laser is just too serious and it would have detracted away from the funniness.
There was
So lasers aren't funny.
That's what he's saying.
Science
You should
prove
They were
Lasers are
funny.
fun,
They
they're
were
not
funny in that movie.
funny, they're
They were
just
taking the
fun.
planes down. It was funny.
He should have been firing bananas.
Yeah, that's what he would like. He would enjoy
Alex
that
is
movie.
talking about comedy. There was a fair amount of comedy. in
There
it.
was.
At the beginning, it was like all
Alex, did you not notice the man's wet noodles?
The corny dialogue.
Yeah, and the wet noodles.
I like wet noodles. You know what? What do they
I
have
don't
against
like
wet
soggy
noodles?
noodles.
Okay,
Personally.
we really should stop criticizing this old guy for his wet noodle problem, because if you're dealing with a giant radioactive lizard thing,
Oh yeah, you're right. The last thing you want is some fucking.
I want some
soggy-ass
fucking
noodles.
regular noodles, not some soggy noodles.
You know what would be hilarious?
As long as they hot, I don't give a fuck.
If he just
You
found
didn't even
a
want to be in that position.
if he just found a lizard that looked exactly like Godzilla in his noodles for no reason, that would be fucking. This is exactly what I needed in my day. You would say this, of course, in Japanese.
Like,
Maybe that's why Godzilla was there.
Oh, for the prime minister's noodles. Shit. That's what Godzilla wanted.
This is like something that I make for a Godzilla commercial.
Oh yeah, right. Godzilla going for some noodles.
You kind of did that with like
I like the
Snickers.
Godzilla.
With all
Wait,
the
with
extras.
nuts or with actual arms though?
And like they clean up after them, and like there's a whole bunch of empty like instant noodle things in the trash can.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, dude, I want some noodles right now.
That's why they mostly live
Oh,
off
dude,
of
right?
fish
I
and
was
sushi
thinking
and
like if
stuff.
they kill Godzilla, I would be like I'd be kind of like a looter in the fact that I'd go like loot Godzilla's body for meat.
You're pretty sure that tail was delicious.
We were talking about like remaking the city in his bones. I was like, dude, that's fucking metal.
You're right. But
Yeah,
dude,
really,
imagine what
rebuild
that
the
shit
city
would
with
taste
his
like, dude.
carcass.
That'd
How
be
fucking rad would that be? Like just
That'd be
It's
awesome.
gonna last for a while, and he's frozen, so they could at least feed half the nation.
Oh,
I mean, I would not eat that.
I would.
I don't
well, it's
know.
radioactive. You can't really eat it.
Yeah.
Imagine-
Well, at the end, it started. His radioactive levels went down, so we have to see: is it an edible radioactive level?
Like, how much of this can I eat before it's an issue?
20 days for a half-life.
How long
That's what they
Oh,
said.
you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Just cut the meat off and wait 20 fucking days.
So it's
You
like
might wanna
cured
freeze it, but
Godzilla
yes.
jerky.
Dude, yeah, just jerky-fy it. Oh, dude, Godzilla.
What if that's the second movie?
Oh, dude, I like how we're talking about fucking eating Godzilla. Dude, dinosaur food.
Okay, we're distracted from the point that we're rating
We have a
Right,
side
Darrius.
Godzilla with
We
some
were
rice.
Okay, so what's your rating?
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Would you
Oh.
recommend it?
I recommend it. Got a migraine reading the subtitles, but it's all
I'd recommend
good.
it.
The beans made it all better.
I would give it, honestly, kind of 5 out of 10.
What?
There was some things I liked, but
Get the fuck
my
out of here.
fuck you.
It's a
It's
better
my
movie than
fucking
that.
house,
It's a
man.
better movie than that.
Okay, look,
At least I thought
I
so.
did enjoy the Godzilla moments a lot. As far between like as there were, I just really but having to wait like through all these fucking meetings, like I wasn't really into that.
Okay, to be fair, a lot of the older Godzilla films had like a lot of pointless scenes that were really shitty. Like a
Well,
kid
that-
and an older man standing on a dock, like pointing at something and talking for like 5 minutes. Like that was bullshit.
And that
Which
was
movie was that again?
I don't know. It's probably actually like Gamera that I'm talking about. But still,
You get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Kaiju Toho shit. Same concept.
I mean, I guess it's the same film if you, but not like. But I mean, like, it's just I almost nodded off like a couple times. I practically had to fight myself.
I didn't nod off, but you mean Miles was close.
I was never disappointed.
I would
because
recommend
looking at
this
old
movie
Japanese
if you have
guys
to
is
take a nap.
But but my main problem is I
How
don't.
dare you?
Like the main problem is I don't give a shit about like waiting through like 2 hours of reports about like oh where is Godzilla. I'd rather. This is weird because I actually liked the 2014 how you see very little of Godzilla, and this one I would prefer I would have preferred if they focused on something other than like them just like reporting like to each other about like different things that don't even matter like do we even know anything other than like what else do we know about the old guy that died who like apparently knew about Godzilla and what was the relevance of him knowing Godzilla's existence before
Like
anything else?
In 2014, they had this whole thing where they go back to like find information. Like they go way into it.
Can you pass me that?
Woo!
Sorry.
This one, Eric. I would say that this is more like a rental. Like you could, yeah, like
buy it.
yeah, you could like just get it.
Go to Big Box.
I wouldn't like see this in like IMAX or like see this in the movie theater because chances are you're probably gonna get an audience like we did who like didn't really expect the show they were gonna get.
And obnoxious laughs every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'd recommend it.
All right.
Just 'cause.
All right. Cool. So thank you guys for watching and check us back next time.
Don't do drugs.
Always do drugs.
Do a moderate amount of drugs.